In today's episode, we're going to be learning how to make a stats custom GUI and display our collections. So, hello everybody. So, in today's episode, as you saw, we're going to be learning how to make custom GUIs. So, first off, I'm going to show you how I implemented it. So, here in the API, what we're going to do is basically you're going to have all of these files, and I'm going to show you right now what they do and how they work. So the GUI class. The GUI class is the class that is the parent of every single other class other than the search GUI, but you're going to see that. So as you can see, this is an abstract class. And I mean, this contains items, options, title. So title is, of course, going to be self-explanatory, but you have options. So what options are basically GUI place options, which could be should he place the back, should he place the exit, the search, and the next. So for example, the exit was the barrier that you saw in the bottom middle of the GUI. That is the exit, and that is automatically placed. So and items, of course, are the actual content of the inventory. The size, again, self-explanatory, and then you have the children and the parent GUI, and then you have the inventory itself that is remembered. The constructors themselves are not that unique at all. So these ones just put everything that is supposed to be there, and then we have something built empty slots. So this basically just creates a light gray stained glass pane, and that basically just makes it, invisible basically, and that is just good for GUI. So there is no empty spots. That's how I wanted to make it. You don't even have to have this. And then there's the click feature. The click is basically a click function of the item in a certain index. And then he calls the item, the GUI item, in this integer. So what is the GUI item? It is an item stack and then a runnable that is an on-click function. So that is basically what the items are. So they're not normal item stacks. Oh no, they're GUI items. The difference is again the runnable on click that can be called whenever. So that is how we actually control what happens in the GUI. Of course, if it's a null or it's an empty function, then nothing happens, of course. And then we have the open function. The open function is just placing the options. So how placing the options work is I'm going to delete the logger. So he checks if this is this is the value and this is true. If it is, he checks if he has a parent. Again, if back and he doesn't have a parent, there's nothing to go back to. So if he doesn't have a parent, we're going to return immediately, and then we're going to create a back button that is going to be an arrow with the name back, and then just on click is going to be parent GUI.open, and then it is going to be it is going to call the original open function just of the parent. To show you the GUI manager, I think it is best to literally just show it to you. It is very, very simple. So we're going to change it in this episode a little bit, but it is basically just a big event and then the list of GUIs. But today we're going to change it a little bit so it would make a little bit more sense, and it's going to look something like this. So basically, it's just going to be the event listener, and it's going to be, you can see he just goes through the whole list of GUIs. He checks if the inventory is the same as the clicked inventory. If it is, he cancels the event or we cancel the event, and then just get value. So that is the GUI itself. We just click the slot, and that is it. So that calls the function. And then we have the add GUI, which is a static method to this. And then we get the GUI, which is again a static method for this. As simple as that. So, and he does that for every single one of the options. Plus, he auto places this, as you can see, in size -6. And then we have the set parent and child functions, which child isn't actually even used. So that is it basically for the GUI abstract class. We have the remove GUI, which is basically just kill every single GUI, and then close GUI, which is just going to remove it from the code everywhere from memory, and is going to close the inventory for the player. Now we can go back. So I showed you the GUI, as you saw. I showed you GUI item, and now the list GUI. So this is a built-in. Well, I made it so it's built-in feature of the API. It extends GUI, and it basically has a different list of item stacks that is show. So this is basically a list of GUI. So I mean, I'm better off showing you. Hold on. Okay, there we go. So this is it. This is basically how the initialization of the list GUI would look like. So I mean, this is just a list of items, and I made it so that it's every single material in the game. It's probably not gonna work, not that I think about it, because the material can be air and then doesn't have an item. So it's better off if we just check if it's an item. There we go, and then we should add it. But yeah, so I mean, this is how that works. It's the list GUI that takes in a parameter of component and then an array list of item stacks. It works as a regular GUI, and I mean, so we can join the server and I can show it to you. There we go. So let's call stats, and there we go. So this is, I guess, air, and as you can see, it's all of the items that are in game. You can even search. That would be egg, and I will see all of the eggs. And when I go back, oops. When I go back, as you can see, it even puts me in the page that I was on. So as you can see, it says search results, and that is it. So basically, how that works is show has all of the items that are in here, so it gets just transferred in there. Then the item count is 0. It increments over and over and over again until the placement index is 44. This is, by the way, just so that it doesn't get placed on the edges, as you can see, so no blocks get placed around the edges. Okay, and then it goes until the length, so this is the size of the actual GUI, and then minus 18 plus. So this is basically the size of the GUI minus all of the stuff that isn't able to be placed, minus the edges, right? So only the insides of the GUI. And then he or we, I guess, put the only visible items in the actual GUI items, so not in the show, but not in the show, but in the actual items. I know it is a bit complicated. That's why you're gonna have code for you to be able to copy. So open is just overridden here, as you can see. And this is just this is technically going to have pages, right? So this just checks if it has a parent GUI, and if the parent GUI is a list of GUI, then as you can see, the back is here. But when I do something like this, the back is here. So this is not the same back, right? So it should place back, checks if it is null or if it's false, right? And then gets item, blah, blah, blah. So puts the actual arrow for the back. It puts the actual arrow here, as you can see, -9. There we go. And then it opens the GUI. So the back opens the parent GUI, which it does. So when I click this, it's going to make a new GUI that has everything other than black dye, right? And then it's going to do like 18, whatever. This is 2, 4, 6, 7. No, times 4. I said 6, 7. 7 times 4. Yeah. So it's going to check only for the amount of items that it needs, and then it's going to go into the other page, and then create a new child, a new child, new child. and it doesn't actually create a child until we press new in this case, or next. And there's the next function itself. I can delete this. So it actually just adds the remainder of items into the new child's items. That is it. And then the search sign GUI is very, very hard to explain because it deals with packets. And now that I showed you how the actual API works now, I can show you how the front part works, or the actual plugin works. So we just made a stats executor, very quite simple. It is, it is what we already did. It just let me return it back to normal so I can show you what it actually was. There we go. So stats GUI, and then open for the player, and the stats GUI is actually just this. So it creates a new regular GUI that has the name stat and the size of 54. And then I did yes, he should place exit, and yes, he should place back. And then mining collection, and then so I'm calling the item utils over here to make a GUI item of type, which is over here. There we go, make GUI item. So it just takes in the item stack and the name. It gives the name regular white color, and so that it's not italic, and assigns it to everything that it's supposed to be assigned to. So it's not that complicated at all. Now that we can go back here, I get the custom player from the custom player manager, and I get his mining collection. I cap it to 70,000, which you're gonna see why. And I just loop over from 0 to 70,000, or the collection, by increments of 10,000. For every 10,000, I put a green stained pane saying your, and then first, second, third, whatever collection tier. I just get the items that are the GUI items and just put, so this is after the 4, I just put in the mining collection, and again, divide the collection by 10,000 and then plus 10, because that is the index, that is this here. So now that I have that, we can check. Okay, so here we are back in game. When I do /stats, that is this function, of course, what is going to happen is what I just explained to you. So opens the stats GUI, and it is empty all over the place other than the exit and then the mining collection. So we did say we want a back function or the back button. The problem is there is no back to go to. One more thing I could recommend is probably just editing the lore of this item for it to be able to say you currently have X amount of collection in mining. So that is it for this episode. Hopefully you enjoyed. I know this was a little bit more of a complex episode. If you have any questions, I would recommend for you to go to the comments or shoot me a DM on Discord and ask away. I will always answer. Don't worry about it. And with that, the tutorial is done. I think you should subscribe, share, comment, and yeah, that is it. So yeah, there you go.